Hello, everybody! How's it going? Rob Tomlinson, DishNet34 here, welcoming you to today's episode of This Week in Perfect Team, episode number 213. How are we doing on this fine Thursday, y'all? Oh my goodness. Let me tell you, if there was ever a time to time this set, it would be today. It would be this week. It would be this week. Because, I mean, we've already had some trade deadline deals going down in the last couple of days in MLB. So, my goodness, we have so much for you today. I mean, we had Lucas Giolito going to the Angels yesterday. That was something else. Like, oh my God, the Angels are actually going for it with 14% playoff chance. Godspeed. God freaking speed to them. It's kind of cute that they're trying. Oh man, but welcome in everybody. We have some great cards today based on some trade deadline stars, some players that were traded at the trade deadline. That was pretty darn cool. This is some pretty darn cool stuff. All right, we got players from Iron up to Perfect. It's gonna be fun tonight. Now I gotta say these slides, I gotta give a shout out to my boy Paul Sporer. These slides were a bit of a team effort today. I almost got them finished last night, but I had to get some sleep. And then I had to cover, some breaking news this morning for my job. And I only got back an hour ago, got the slides in, got them into OBS. So I have a good idea at least of what the players are. But we had to have some finishing touches to it today. So thanks so much, Paul. I really do appreciate it. Yep, we got it done. We did get it done. How's the river doing? Oh, another 20,000 gallons this morning. Well, last night actually, but that's beside the point. The point is, we got some great cards today, but you know what? Along with good cards, we also have a couple other things to announce today as well. And that, my friends, is we have a sale starting at the end of the stream or somewhere around there. Starting today, that we will be having 50% off sale for Out of the Park Baseball 24. Our trade deadline sale, you can save 50% off the game for a limited time. The offer will end at 10 a.m. next Thursday. So Out of the Park Baseball on sale once again. Gotta love that. And as well as that sale, along with that sale, ladies and gentlemen, we also have a Perfect Points sale. You can save up to 30% off Perfect Points for a week. For a week. Heck yeah. Everybody loves these sales. The offer ends 2 p.m. Eastern on Thursday, August 3rd. So, couple of sales coming down the pipe starting today. Some great stuff to start things off. And of course, none of these slides, none of these stats that we're about to show you today for a lot of these players that have been traded at the trade deadline, none of these would be possible without the gracious assistance of everybody's favorite stat service, StatHead Baseball, powered by Baseball Reference. And you can get in on the action as well. You can use code 23 OOTP25 for $25 off an annual baseball or all sport subscription. Folks, this is one heck of an offer. I keep saying that this is one heck of an offer, but I really, truly mean it. I mean, you can just put in any filters you want. You can, put in any filters you want, it'll spit out something you didn't even think was possible. Like there might be only 2 players who did X, Y, and Z in baseball history. That's fun to know. And you can save $25 off of this service? What's not to like? And don't forget that, StatHead, not just for baseball, it is also for basketball. It's also for football. It's also for hockey, if y'all are into those sports as well. So that could be a pretty darn good deal for y'all as well. 835 triple plays? Exactly. You can look up maybe how many of those kind of double plays there have been in history. By the way, only 2. And the last one was back in the 1800s, if I recall correctly. Offer expires on this fantastic deal at the end of the year, December 31st, 2023. And this offer cannot be combined with existing accounts. Yeah, I know. Gotta have that little disclaimer in there legally, But you know what? 23 OOTP 25 at checkout. Save $25 off an annual baseball or all sport subscriptions. And yes, it can also make you an Immaculate Grid legend. Yes, yes, yes. All right, folks. Well, let's go ahead and get into the content here today. Our trade deadline stars collection. New packable cards based on some notable trade deadline acquisitions. Whoo boy. Whoo boy. 34 cards in total will be released today. We're going to have quite a few for you in the stream today. We're not going to show off all 34, but we're going to show off, a decent amount of them. All right, so we're going to start out with the iron card of this set. Ladies and gentlemen, let's take you back to the late 2000s, all right? And the big deal of that 2008 trade deadline involved this guy. Now, he was the headliner of the return for the big guy that was in this trade. He went over from Milwaukee to Cleveland in this deal. He was supposed to be the next great slugger in Cleveland history. Just didn't happen, unfortunately. And that guy is 44 overall left fielder from the 2009 Cleveland team. It is Matt Laporta. Matt Laporta, 61 BABIP, 65 power, 60 avoid K, 68 contact, 81 gap, and 58 on the eye. Now, Matt Laporta, this guy was one of the kind of a top prospect in the Milwaukee organization. Not quite, on the level of some of the other guys they had in the organization, but definitely one of the better hitters in Milwaukee's organization at the time. And he was pretty much considered the highlight of the deal that brought CC Sabathia over to Milwaukee. 2009 season for Matt Laporta, it wasn't the greatest, obviously. 254, 308, 442, 7 homers, 21 RBI, and a 99 OPS plus, so kind of right around league average with everything. This was his rookie season in MLB. His first career homer against Toronto in May of that season. He can play first base. He can play left field. He can play right field. Kind of middling defense on this guy. 49 range, 63 error, and 66 arm in the outfield. 30 range, 36 error, 34 arm, and 37 turn double play on the infield. So, this is not bad positional flexibility when you're talking about iron level, and especially guys with this kind of hitting ability at iron level. It's not bad. Certainly not the best iron card, but certainly, a pretty serviceable option. Can play first, can play left, can play right. Not going to have a lot of speed on him. 15 speed, 21 stealing, 46 base running. And don't have him bunt either. 7 sack bunt and 8 on the bunt for hit. Yeah, serviceable is a word to describe him. I mean, hey, you need positional flexibility if you're maybe doing some perfect drafts. You might come across Matt Laporta, say, hey, you know what? I need a backup outfielder in the iron round that can maybe play first base in a pinch. This guy would work. So there you go. Matt Laporta from the 2009 Cleveland team is in. Perfect team. 24. Alrighty. Next up, you know what? This set would not be complete without any Detroit Tigers. All right. I mean, I'm wearing the Tigers jersey of a guy that was traded at the August trade deadline. My boy, Justin Verlander. Gotta love him. You know, one of my favorite pitchers of all time. We're not talking about that trade today, but we're going to talk about another trade that happened back in 2015 involving the Tigers. And that involved this guy as part of the return. Well, the big highlight of the return on this particular trade at the trade deadline in 2015. And that, my friends, is 66 overall, right-handed starting pitcher from the 2017 Detroit Tigers. It is Michael Fulmer. Michael Fulmer, 45 stuff, 98 movement, 95 homer rating, 75 pitcher BABIP, and 81 control. Not a lot of stuff on this guy. He is a little bit better against lefties in some categories, while also better against some righties in some categories. Against righties, he's got 49 stuff, 93 movement, 90 homer rating, 82 pitcher BABIP, and 80 control. Against lefties, he's got 40 stuff, 104 movement, 100 homer rating, 67 pitcher BABIP, and 83 control. 84 stamina, 76 on the hold runners. He's got a fastball, he's got a slider, he's got a sinker, he's got a change oof. A 12 rating on the changeup. But you know, Michael Fulmer's 2017, maybe not as good as his 2016 was when he won Rookie of the Year for the Tigers, deservedly, by the way. But, you know, still kind of respectable given that, you know, this was the 2017 Detroit Tigers. 10-12 record on the year, a 3.83 on the ERA, 6.2 strikeouts per 9, 2.2 walks per 9, and a 1.17 ERA plus. He was a 2017 All-Star this year, and yeah, that was pretty cool for Michael Fulmer. You know, we were thinking as Tigers fans, you know, this was going to be, you know, really good starter for us in the future. This is his lone All-Star selection. His lone All-Star selection of his career. And he actually tied for first for the team in wins that year with 10. Yeah. I mean, you know, tied with Justin Verlander for the most wins. You know, it was kind of a continuation season for Justin Verlander after his successful 2016. Michael Fulmer led the American League in homers per 9 in 2017, second on Detroit in starting pitchers ERA behind Verlander by just 0.01. 0.01. Crazy. Now, of course, Michael Fulmer was a part of the trade at a trade deadline back in 2015 when he was traded from the New York Mets to the Detroit Tigers in the 2015 Yoenis Cespedes trade. And let me tell you, folks, I loved Yoenis Cespedes when he was with the Tigers. You know, picked him up as, you know, I think because Victor Martinez was hurt at the time. If I'm recalling correctly, I forget if that was the case. I think that was the case when we got him. But, you know, he was a great addition to the lineup. He absolutely balled out for us. And then, you know, the 2015 Tigers were just full of stink that year, so we had to trade him away, and we got Michael Fulmer back, which was good for a few seasons. Until he got injured and all that. Had a bounce back year in 21. That was good. And then he just became a bullpen guy for the rest of his career. But man, oh man, those first couple of years with us, really good. Michael Fulmer, 2017 Detroit Tigers is in. Perfect team. 24. 24. Alrighty, let's go to a couple of silver cards here. And silver cards, they can be very fun, obviously. Could be worse. You could have traded your team's single season home run champion for Jorge Lopez. Yep. All right, our next card on the day was a minor leaguer when he was part of a trade deadline deal all the way back in 2007. We're going back in the 21st century here a little bit. And this guy, probably one of a very good defensive shortstop with this guy right here. He was part of a big deal in 2007 season at the trade deadline. Ladies and gentlemen, from the 2009 Texas Rangers, we have 73 overall, Elvis Andrus. 71 BABIP, 25 power, 79 avoid K, 72 contact, 60 gap power, and 62 on the eye. Whew, this is a card. This is a card right here. A little bit better against lefties at the plate than he is against righties. 78 BABIP, 27 power, 81 avoid K, 79 contact, 65 gap, and 67 on the eye. But look at the defense, look at the speed, and look at the bunt. My oh my. I mean, that range, those defensive stats right there, whoo boy, spicy. 94 range, 69 error, 92 arm, 90 on the turn double play. This could be a solid option at shortstop at the silver level, maybe for silver tournaments. Could be a very fun option there. Very good speed and stealing on Mr. Andrus here. 97 speed, 100 stealing, and 92 on the base running. And very good bunting as well. 92 sack bunt and 90 on the bunt for hit. Elvis Andrus, part of the 2007 Mark Teixeira trade when he was traded from Texas to Atlanta. Elvis Andrus coming back from Atlanta in the deal. In the 2009 season, this was his rookie year after a couple more years in the Texas minor league system. Hit 267, 329, 373 with 6 homers, 40 RBI, and an 82 OPS plus. Not exactly getting Elvis Andrus for his hitting. You're getting him kind of for his defense, even though the hitting did come along as Elvis Andrus went through his career. Finished second in 2009 AL Rookie of the Year voting behind Andrew Bailey of the Oakland A's. 2.3 defensive wins above replacement for Elvis Andrus in his rookie year. His rookie year showed he was one of the better defenders at shortstop in the league, which was just fantastic. Highest rating in his career for defensive wins above replacement. Pretty darn good. 3.6 WAR overall, the 4th highest mark in his career. And of course, traded from Atlanta to Texas in the 2007 Mark Teixeira trade. Other players in that deal, by the way, if I can go to his transaction page. Okay, I guess I've got to scroll down on Baseball Reference. There we go. So, traded by the Atlanta Braves with Bo Jones, a minor league guy, Neftali Feliz, Matt Harrison, and Jared Saltalamacchia. This was a huge deal for the Rangers when it came to their World Series years and their playoff years in the early 2010s. So, this kind of was the start of a core for those early 2010s Texas teams that did very well during that time period. So there you go. Elvis Andrus from the 2009 Texas Rangers rookie sensation card is in. Perfect team. 24. And yes, he is playing for the Chicago White Sox right now. The keyword is playing. All right, let's move on to our next card of the day. Next card of the day, and we kind of want to give some love to some minor deals as well that, maybe didn't look too significant at the time, but given what the player did for the rest of the season, it turned out very well for the team that got the player. And, one of the players that kind of is a good example of this is our next card. And we go to the 2010 season. And we go to a New York Yankee, 74 overall right-handed reliever, Kerry Wood, from the 2010 New York Yankees. Now, a lot of people know Kerry Wood as like the starter that had 20 strikeouts for the Cubs that one time against the Houston Astros. He became a reliever kind of toward the latter part of his career, and he became a very key part of the Yankees bullpen during the rest of the 2010 season. 91 stuff, 86 movement, 78 homer rating, 92 pitcher BABIP, and 45 control. Now, the control wasn't great with Kerry Wood during this time period. Some interesting splits here on Kerry Wood. Against lefties, he's got 89 stuff, 93 movement, 87 homer rating, 89 pitcher BABIP, and 31 control. Against righties, he's got 93 stuff, 80 movement, 71 homer rating, 94 pitcher BABIP, and 56 control. Very, very interesting card here. 12 stamina and a 61 on the hold runner. Fastball, slider, curveball, forkball, cutter, and a change-off on this guy. Now, the 2010 season was a tale of two teams for Kerry Wood. He started the year with Cleveland. He actually was there for them in the 2009 season at this point. Started the 2010 season with Cleveland. Absolute garbage. I mean, look at the stats up there. 23 games with Cleveland and a 6.3 ERA. 6.3 ERA. That's way up there. That is way up there. But he got traded from Cleveland to New York in 2010, and I want to say it was definitely in July. It was specifically on July 31st, 2010. So right at the trade deadline. He was traded with for a couple of players to be named later, which turned out to be a couple guys that didn't pan out. Andrew Shive, Matt Cusick. But this guy was an absolute nail-down reliever for the Yankees once he got to the Bronx. A .69 ERA, a nice ERA, with the New York Yankees in 24 games, which included 21 straight scoreless appearances. And so that got his overall season down to a 3.13 ERA from what was essentially a disaster in Cleveland. And strikeout rate was pretty darn good too. 10.7 strikeouts per nine with the Yankees, 0.3 homers per nine. But the walk rate definitely was elevated a bit to about a 6.2 walks per nine. So, you kind of get the walks a little bit with Kerry Wood. But man, oh man. So there you go. Kerry Wood, very, very solid reliever for the Yankees, was the bridge to Mariano Rivera for their 2010 playoff run, where they lost to the Texas Rangers in the American League Championship Series. So there you go. Kerry Wood from the 2010 New York Yankees is in Perfect Team 24. All right, next up, let's get a couple of gold cards going here. Get a couple of gold cards going. And our next player is the lone catcher of this set. Yeah, it's weird. We have 34 cards that are being released, and this is the only catcher on the list? The heck? Well, this catcher was kind of a, young guy when he was traded. But the card here is going to be based on one of the guy's best seasons of his career. This guy was traded for a reliever, for kind of an interesting name. The pitcher that got traded was named Heathcliff Slocum, and the team that he's on, you know, the team he was traded from got a really pretty good return in all hindsight. And this guy became, you know, probably one of the more significant catchers of the 21st century for the Boston Red Sox. Ladies and gentlemen, from the 2005 Boston Red Sox, it is 83 overall, Jason Varitek. 85 BABIP, 74 power, 59 avoid K, 90 contact, 86 gap power, and 86 on the eye. Look at the splits against lefties here. 85 BABIP, 89 power, 67 avoid K, 100 contact, 76 gap, and 93 on the eye. Now, defensively, Varitek, you know, not the greatest, but certainly not terrible either. 72 catcher ability and 60 on the arm. He's not going to be a speedster, obviously. 10 speed, 19 stealing, 29 on the base running. And you're not going to have him bunt either. 4 sack bunt and a 7 on the bunt for hit. You know, not great. Definitely not great. But 2005, you know, arguably one of the best seasons of Jason Varitek's career. Could we mod the card for it to be a photo of him shoving A-Rod in the face? I mean, I wish we could do that, but apparently we don't have the license to that photo or something like that. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. 2005 season for Jason Varitek hit 281, 366, 489 with 22 homers, 70 RBI, and a 122 OPS plus. He was an all-star that year, Gold Glover, Silver Slugger, first year this year as a captain for the Boston Red Sox, only the 4th captain ever in the history of the Red Sox, which is a fascinating little statistic. The other three captains in the history of the Boston Red Sox: Jimmy Fox, Carl Yastrzemski, Jim Rice. All of them Hall of Famers. And Jason Varitek, not a Hall of Famer, but still a very solid player for the Boston Red Sox. Now, obviously, Jason Varitek, like we mentioned, traded in the 1997 Heath Slocum deal, along with a guy named Derek Lowe. Very, very interesting pitcher there. You know, Derek Lowe, very solid pitcher as well. So there you go. Jason Varitek from the Boston Red Sox is in Perfect Team 24. All right. Let's show off one more gold card for y'all today. Let's show off one more gold card for you before we start getting into some of the diamonds here. Sounds like a pretty good plan, if I do say so myself. Now, trade deadline deals, you know, not just a thing of the 21st century. No. There were some very notable trade deadline deals way back in the day as well. And one in particular comes to mind, so much so, that was part of one of 2 deals that had a nickname attached to it. We take you back to 1977. I know, we're going back to the 70s. Y'all didn't know there were trade deadline deals back in the 70s. I mean, you probably did, but like, whew. But this next guy was traded as part of what New York Mets fans called the Midnight Massacre. And this was when a couple of very notable players got traded away and started kind of a downturn for the Mets during this time. And ladies and gentlemen, our next card comes to us from the 1977 Cincinnati Reds, and it is 89 overall right-handed starter Tom Seaver. Yes, the year that he got traded from the New York Mets to the Cincinnati Reds. He is in Perfect Team 24. 76 stuff, 88 movement, 81 homer rating, 91 pitcher BABIP, and 79 control. Lot better against righties than he is against lefties. 81 stuff, 91 movement, 84 homer rating, 97 on the pitcher BABIP, and 86 control. 90 stamina in 53 hold runners. Versus lefties, it's a little bit on the mess side, but man, oh man, this could be a very solid guy against righties for a lot of teams, maybe in the gold level, maybe for gold tournaments. Oh, excuse me. Could be a decent bullpen option too, if you so choose. Maybe if you have quite a few other of the top gold cards potentially, you know, maybe that helps. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup, and sinker combo on this guy. Extreme fly ball type though. 93, 95 on the velocity. Now 1977, well, Tom Seaver had very solid years in his career. 77 is no different. 21-6 with a 2.58 ERA total on the year, 6.8 strikeouts per 9, and a 1.014 whip. Kind of on the low side of Tom Seaver's career. Now, we need a bit of a breakdown here between his Mets numbers and his Reds numbers. He was all right with the Mets, 7-3 with a 3 ERA during the 77 season, but with Cincinnati, in 20 games started, he went 14-3 with a 2.34 ERA. Strikeout rate stayed the same. Walk rate went down to about a 2.1. His whip was a .956 with a 2.87 FIP for the Cincinnati Reds during the 77 season. That's pretty darn good. And Seaver actually faced off against the Mets about a month later, on August 21st, 1977, actually about a couple months later, because I believe he was dealt in June of that year. Yeah, he was traded on June 15th, 1977, which was the trade deadline back in those days. He struck out 11 hitters in his return to Shea Stadium on August 21st, 1977, and of course, traded to Cincinnati as part of that Midnight Massacre, which also included a trade, if I can look this up here again, along with Dave Kingman. But yep, he was traded for pitcher Pat Zachary, minor league outfielder Steve Henderson, infielder Doug Flynn, and minor league outfielder Dan Norman. So there you go. Tom Seaver from the 1977 Cincinnati Reds is in. Perfect team. 24. Solid gold card, if I do say so myself. Alrighty, next up. Yep, Kingman, Iron and Immaculate Grid God. Exactly. Alright, folks, next card up. We're gonna show off a few diamonds for you here today. Let's see who we got next up. Oh, all right. We mentioned we're gonna start getting into some deals that we have mentioned already on the stream today. How about that? We mentioned this guy a couple of cards in to today. Ladies and gentlemen, the player that was traded for Michael Fulmer in the 2015 trade deadline from the 2015 New York Mets. It is 92 overall left fielder Yoenis Cespedes. What would a trade deadline set be without this guy? 82 BABIP, 100 power, 61 avoid K, 99 contact, 95 gap, and 62 on the eye. Very solid hitter against both lefties and righties. Against lefties, he's got 76 BABIP, 103 power, 57 avoid K, 94 contact, 87 gap power, and 80 on the eye. That's pretty solid against lefties right here. 84 BABIP, 99 power, 62 avoid K, 101 contact, 97 gap, and 56 I against righties. And yes, get the spit, get the pig, get that barbecue rolling. We got Yoenis Cespedes in the game. Defensively, pretty solid. Definitely more of a left fielder than he is a center fielder, but he is eligible in center field at full training. 74 range, 52 error, but 93 on the outfield arm. That's pretty darn solid right there. Solid arm. I mean, Cespedes already always had a very solid arm. 54 speed, 61 stealing, 87 base running. So he's got a little bit of wheels, but I mean, not spectacular at all. 2015 season for Yoenis Cespedes between Detroit and the New York Mets hit 291, 328, 542 with 35 homers, 105 RBI, and a 136 OPS plus. Now with Detroit, he had 293 average, 18 homers, 61 RBI, which was pretty solid, you know, which is why we got the return that we did with Michael Fulmer, who was actually a pretty decent prospect at the time. With the New York Mets, in 57 games, he was one of those catalysts that helped the Mets to the 2015 World Series. Hit 287 with 17 homers and 44 RBI down the stretch for the Mets. Just absolutely outstanding the rest of the year for the Mets. He was a Gold Glover that year, finished 13th in the MVP vote, and helped the Mets, obviously, to the World Series that year. Now, it's a bit of a shame, though, for Yoenis that, I mean, let's be honest here. 2015 and 2016 were kind of his last fully healthy seasons of his career. Which, you know, kind of a shame. It's kind of a shame. But you know what? Cespedes, just one of those very fun players to watch. Loved having him on the Tigers, but he thrived with the Mets for about a season and a half. Yeah, he fell off the horse. Yeah, he did fall off a horse at one point. He sure did. He sure did. But you know what? This version of Cespedes, not going to be hampered by injuries, because injuries are turned off in Perfect Team, and no horses. Pretty darn good. Pretty darn good deal. So there you go. Yoenis Cespedes from the 2015 New York Mets is in Perfect Team 24. All right. This next player. If there is one single trade that absolutely grinds my gears in the last 6 years that the Tigers have made, the one trade that was just a no-win situation for the Tigers from the minute it was made, it involved this next guy. And let me tell you, folks, if you want a big old power bat, in your lineup, you could have gotten it for a bag of baseballs from the Detroit Tigers in 2017, because the next card is 95 overall JD Martinez from the 2017 Arizona Diamondbacks. 81 BABIP, 134 power, 61 avoid K, 108 contact, 92 gap, and 86 on the eye. Look at the splits against lefties, ye mighty and despair. 91 BABIP, 144 power, 59 avoid K, 118 contact, 97 gap, and 87 and 89 on the eye. And the power against righties ain't bad as well. 78 BABIP, 131 power, 61 avoid K, 105 contact, 90 gap, and 85 eye. I mean, that's pretty darn powerful right there. Solid hitter. I mean, JD Martinez was a solid hitter once he got to Detroit. And, you know, the offseason before he got to Detroit, picked up on waivers, retooled his whole freaking swing, became a stud for us. And then we started sucking in 2017. And then the Tigers traded him away for what were allegedly baseball players. Allegedly baseball players. Defensively, you know, JD Martinez, never really the best defender in the world. 52 outfield range, 59 errors, 69 arm, 17 speed, 52 stealing, 61 base running. He can play right field fully trained, can learn up in left field as well if you really want him to. The 2017 season for JD Martinez. Let's talk about this. Let's just spend. Let's have a fireside chat about JD Martinez's 2017 season because it was the stuff of legend. All right. Total for the year: 303, 376 with a 690 slugging percentage, which would have led MLB if he played with the same team the whole year. By the way, 45 homers, 104 RBI, a 168 OPS plus. He hit 16 homers with a 305 average in 57 games for Detroit. Then we traded him for a bag of balls. And then the dude, in 62 games with Arizona, hit 29 dingers, 29 homers in 62 games. Ah! And you know, the guy was so good. In his 62 games with Arizona, he got votes in the NL MVP vote. National League MVP vote. He had 2.4 wins above replacement. 2.4. 2.4 wins above replacement for Arizona alone. He had 1.5 with Detroit. His defense actually got better. I mean, you can't get much better than a negative .9 defensive WAR with his time in Detroit. But still. And what did the Tigers give him up for? Barely anything. JD Martinez, I like the guy. Heck, I have a freaking baseball that was signed by the guy at Tiger Fest in 2014, 2015, 2015. 2015. Actually, yeah, 2016. 2016 Tiger Fest. I actually got a signed baseball with this guy. Love the guy. Love his career. Arguably, you know, one of my favorite Tigers of that time period. But it was kind of sad to trade him and for such a return. But you know what? JD Martinez, solid hitter. Solid hitter in this card. 95 overall. JD Martinez, he is in. Perfect team, 24. All right, next up. Oh, man. You know, let's go back to the 1980s for our next card of the day. Ladies and gentlemen, it is 98. Paul! What are you doing to me, Paul? Bravo. Bravo. 40 overall. Yep, this is what happens when I have work to do on the morning slides, when the morning slides are finalized. Yep. Yep. He hacked my PowerPoint. That's the only thing. 58 BABIP, 39 power, 70 avoid K, 61 contact, 63 gap, 21 eye. This is Dewell Lugo from the 2019 Detroit Tigers. Part of that freaking JD Martinez deal. Yeah, what a stud return. Absolute freaking stud return. Thanks, Al Avila. Love you, bud. 63 range, 69 error, 78 arm, 56 on the turn, double play. He can play third base, technically qualified to learn second. Can kind of hit against righties. 58 BABIP, 44 power, 75 avoid K, 63 contact, 67 gap power, 21 on the eye. Do I have Lugo's autograph as well? No, I don't. And apparently, this was the headliner of the return for JD Martinez. Somebody in the Tigers front office thought this guy was gonna be a good baseball player when every single Tigers fan that looked at the return said no. Bah! Why? Just why? So the dude, I mean, he was technically a hitter in 2019. 245, 271, 381, 6 homers, 26 RBI, and a 70 OPS plus. I mean, this was his only season with 200 or more at-bats in Major League Baseball. Where is the guy now even? Where does he even play now? He plays for the Charleston Dirty Birds in the Atlantic League. That just goes to show you how good the Tigers front office was during this time period. Really does. Really does. So there you go. 40 overall Dewell Lugo from the 2019 Detroit Tigers. He's in perfect Team 24. Okay. Now to the actual card that we were supposed to show off. It is 98. Oh, for crying out loud. Okay. 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 All right. All right. You had your fun, Paul. You had your fun. I got double pranked. Oh my God. I mean, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This was the other highlight of the freaking trade. 42 BABIP. 434 power. 43 avoid K, 42 contact, 59 gap power, 47 eye. This guy can't hit. I mean, he can kind of play second and third. 63 range, 70 error, 81 arm. 73 on the turn double play. Put Lugo and Alcantara on the team already. What? Oh, come on. Oh, God. Yeah, the best thing is they believed in this guy for 4 more years. .53 speed, 57 stealing, 73 on the base running. I mean, look at the stats for his 2020 season. This is a 40 overall card. 143, 217, 381 slugging. There's something good. 381 slugging with a homer and an RBI in 10 games, 23 plate appearances. Love you too, Paul. Love you too. Yeah, so he was traded from Arizona to Detroit. He was waived the next season in 2021. Oh, God. So, yeah, Sergio Alcantara, not much to talk about with this guy. Honestly, this could probably be a peak card. This could probably be a peak card because this was the peak of his career. Right here. So there you go. Sergio Alcantara, 40 overall from the 2020 Detroit Tigers. All right, let me look through this PowerPoint file here. Let me look through this. Okay, are we done? Are we done with the trolling now? Are we done? Okay, looks like we are. All right, thank God. Whew, okay. All right, now let's actually get to the next card in this set. Ladies and gentlemen, I've been teasing this guy for the last 2 slides. Let's go back to the 1980s for our next card. And you know, this guy actually won a Cy Young Award after being traded to this particular team. Can you believe that? This guy was so good for one team after he got traded during the season that he actually won the Cy Young Award. And that, my friends, is 98 overall from the 1984 Chicago Cubs. It is Rick Sutcliffe. 97 stuff, 93 movement, 87 homer rating, 84 pitcher BABIP, 95 control. These are some solid splits here. Very solid splits. Against righties, 98 stuff, 94 movement, 89 homer rating, 86 pitcher BABIP, 98 control. Against lefties, 94 stuff, 91 movement, 85 homer rating, 82 pitcher BABIP, and 92 control. 98 stamina, 79 on the hold runner. Fly ball guy, 92 to 94 miles an hour. Fastball, slider, curveball, changeup combo. Rick Sutcliffe. You know, this guy, kind of started out, kind of decent. Not a great pitcher, but not a bad pitcher either. Led MLB in ERA in 1982. Then in 1984, kind of had a bit of a rough start with Cleveland, which, by the way, he played for Cleveland for a couple years there at the start of his career. Played a few years for the Dodgers, too. But then, 1984 rolls around, starts out 4-5 with Cleveland with a 5.15 ERA in 15 starts. 5.5 strikeouts per 9, 4.4 walks per 9, giving up a whip of 1.664, 10.6 hits per 9. And, Cleveland was like, we can't do this anymore, man. We just can't do this anymore. So, they traded him to the Cubs. The return on that trade. He was actually traded along with a guy named George Frazier and a guy named Ron Hassey. And the return was Joe Carter, Mel Hall, Don Scholes, and a minor leaguer named Darrell Banks. But I think the Chicago Cubs kind of got the better end of this deal because with the Chicago Cubs, in 1984, he went 16-1. 16 wins, 1 loss, a 2.69 ERA. In 150 1/3 innings pitched, 7 complete games, 3 shutouts, and his strikeout to walk rate went up. 9.3 strikeouts per 9, 2.3 walks per 9. The homer rate went down. The hit rate went down. The whip went down as well. 1.078 whip with the 84 Cubs. 228 on the FIP and a 144 ERA plus. Just absolutely fantastic year. Fantastic year. After what date during the year? June 13th. Yeah, bonus points if you can name the only pitcher that defeated him. Absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy after the trade deadline for Rick Sutcliffe. Man, oh man. Rick Sutcliffe from the 1984 Chicago Cubs. And then he was actually a serviceable pitcher for the Cubs for the rest of his career. Had a couple of years in 92 and 93 with Baltimore, and then a year in St. Louis in 94 to kind of wrap up his career. Got a couple of All-Star selections in 87 and 89. Led the NL in wins in 1987 with 18 of them. So pretty cool stuff right there. Rick Sutcliffe from the 1984 Chicago Cubs is in. Perfect Team 24. All right. One more diamond to show off for you all today. And ladies and gentlemen, we talked about this trade a few cards in. And, we talked about, this guy was part of actually a couple of trades in back-to-back seasons. This was the, this is kind of based on the second one that he was a part of. And, 2008 season was really, really good for this guy. Fetched kind of a decent return, but man, oh man, he went supernova after he got traded. Ladies and gentlemen, from the 2008 Atlanta Braves, who was later traded to the LA Angels, it is 98 overall first baseman Mark Teixeira. 93 BABIP, 100 power, 91 avoid K, 119 contact, 92 gap power, and 105 on the eye. Folks, hamina, 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 hamina. This is a bat right here. This is an absolute bat. I mean, this is solid against both sides. Against lefties, 96 BABIP, 88 power, 97 avoid K, 119 contact, 92 gap, 113 eye. Against righties, he has 92 BABIP, 104 power, 89 avoid K, 118 contact, 92 gap, and 102 on the eye. Whoo! And defensively, he's good. Really, really good. 72 range, 76 error, 71 arm if you need that at first base, 64 on the turn double play, and he's a switch hitter. Which is just insane. His 2008 season, absolutely insane. 308, 410, 552 on the slugging. 33 homers, 121 RBI, 41 doubles as well, 177 hits. Finished 20th somehow in MVP voting. But he kind of had a good start to the year in Atlanta after being traded from Texas the previous year in that Elvis Andrus deal, by the way. Hit 283, 390, 512, 20 homers, 78 RBI. Solid. Just absolutely solid. But Atlanta, they were a very underachieving team that year. Very, very underachieving year for the Braves. I mean, they were mired kind of in the bottom of the NL East at this point. So they're like, you know what? We have this guy, Mark Teixeira, on an expiring contract. Might as well give him up. And they did. traded him to the Angels for Casey Kochman and a minor leaguer named Steven Merrick, whoever the heck that guy was. Did he even make it to the majors? Never did. Never did. But let me tell you, the Angels got the better end of that deal straight up. Because with the Angels, .358 batting average, .449 on base, .632 slugging in 54 games with 13 homers and 43 RBI. That equates to a 3.7 WAR just in 54 games with the Angels. Compare that to 4.1 WAR with the Braves in 103 games. He was .4 off in about half the games. That is how great he was with the Angels in the end of the 2008 season. And he helped the Angels to their first 100-win season in team history. And of course, as you know, they lost the AL Division Series 3-1 to the Boston Red Sox. But that rest of the 2008 season for Mark Teixeira, just absolutely incredible. I don't know why it's a Braves logo and not the Angels. I'm not 100% sure on that. We'll probably check on that in a little bit. But either way, Mark Teixeira from the 2008 Atlanta Braves is in Perfect Team 24. All right, we got a couple of perfect cards for you in this set. Couple of perfect cards that we have for you. Okay, Paul is saying in the chat that needs to be Angels will eventually change. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Speaking of perfect, we have a perfect card, couple of perfect cards today. Now, of course, once again, we're not showing off all the cards that are in the set, but I will have a slide with all the other cards that are in this set here in just a little bit. This next guy was traded back in the early 90s. You know, we're going to go back to the early 90s for this one. As part of a deal that sent Gary Sheffield to Florida, I do believe. But this one guy that was in this particular deal became one of the best closers in MLB history. Ladies and gentlemen, 100 overall from the San Diego Padres, peak card, Trevor Hoffman. Bells! 143 stuff, 107 movement, 98 homer rating, 100 pitcher BABIP, and 102 control. Against righties, 147 stuff, 109 movement, 101 homer rating, 102 pitcher BABIP, and 105 control. Against lefties, 139 stuff, 105 movement, 92 homer rating, 97 pitcher BABIP, and 98 control. 13 stamina, 99 on the hold runners. 92 on the fastball, 72 slider, 50 curveball, and a 111 changeup. Folks, if you want to talk about a relief pitcher that might be the best in the game at this point, there you go. 19, well, let's see. Well, Trevor Hoffman, you know, one of the best players, one of the best closers in MLB history. The peak card has a year on it of 1998, but it is a peak card. So let's talk about his entire body of work. 61-75 record. You know, who cares about win-loss record as a closer? 2.87 ERA. 1,089 and a third innings pitched. 601 career saves. Career save percentage of 68.8%. strikeout rate of 9.4 per 9, 2.5 walks per 9, career whip of 1.058, career FIP of 308. Oh my, this guy was just absolutely incredible. He led the league in his league in saves twice in 1998 and 2006, had 53 saves in 1998, a 1.48 on the ERA that year in 98, which was incredible. Where he was an all-star, finished second in Cy Young, seventh in NL MVP in the 98 season, led MLB in saves, had a career-low ERA and whip during that year. And actually, Trevor Hoffman actually got 28 games in Florida in 1993. 3.28 ERA during that season, 6.6 strikeouts per 9, 4.8 walks per 9, kind of a middling kind of deal there for the Marlins. But man, when he got to San Diego, he became pretty much a god tier closer. Oh man, so there you go. Trevor Hoffman, 100 overall, Hell's Bells himself, Hall of Fame closer. Trevor Hoffman is it. Perfect Team 24. All right, folks. All right. Our final packable card that we're showing off for you for today is a guy that just went. I mean, we've had a lot of guys that went supernova when they got traded at the trade deadline. We've had a lot of those here today. This guy, you know, probably 100% of people guessed this in EVC's contest, all right? If we go back to the first card that we showed off for you today, Matt Laporta, I think everyone knows who that guy was traded for. I mean, I even put it on the friggin' slide. But you know what? We started off talking about this particular trade, and we're going to bookend it talking about the big kahuna of the deal. Ladies and gentlemen, from the 2008 Milwaukee Brewers, probably one of the best trade deadline acquisitions of the last 15 years. 100 overall left-handed starter, CC Sabathia. 109 stuff, 111 movement, 104 homer rating, 91 pitcher BABIP, and 99 control. Against lefties, 122 stuff, 117 movement, 109 homer rating, 101 pitcher BABIP, 99 control. And against righties, he's not bad either. 105 stuff, 109 movement, 102 homer rating, 87 pitcher BABIP, and 99 control. 100 on the stamina, 77 on the hold runner, fastball, slider, changeup, sinker combo. Folks, this guy, absolutely solid. Let's talk about CC Sabathia's 2008 season because, oh my goodness, this guy was the stuff of legend. The stuff of legend. CC Sabathia, that 2008 season, started in Cleveland. And of course, Cleveland, 2008, kind of a middling team. They finished third in the AL Central that year. Started off with a 6-8 record, 3.83 ERA, had a couple of shutouts, 3 complete games in 18 starts. Okay, that's fine. Had like 9 strikeouts per 9, 2.5 walks per 9. But you know what? Cleveland, they decided to sell at the trade deadline. CC Sabathia, the big deal. Big deal. Big deal at the time. Got traded to Milwaukee for Matt Laporta. Let's see. Who else? Rob Bryson, whoever the heck that is, Zach Jackson, and a player to be named later that eventually became Michael Brantley, who became very good for Cleveland. But not as good as CC Sabathia was for the Brewers down the stretch in 2008. He practically became a folk hero. He became an absolute folk hero for the Milwaukee Brewers. Listen to these numbers here. 11-2, 1.65 ERA, 17 starts. 7 of them were complete games. 3 of them were shutouts. And that's just on the surface. I mean, there were just days where like CC Sabathia could not be stopped for the Brewers. Had 8.8 strikeouts per 9, 1.7 walks per 9. His FIP was a 2.44. His WHIP was a 1.003. Homer rate went down from a 1 in Cleveland per 9 to a 0.4. He finished 5th in Cy Young Award voting in the National League. Finished 6th in MVP voting in the National League. This guy was just that great for the Milwaukee Brewers. And this, a pretty darn good representation of it. CC Sabathia from the Milwaukee Brewers, 2008 is in. Perfect Team 24. Oh boy. Oh boy. Absolute banger of a last few cards we had for you. I've enjoyed this set. Hope you did too. And of course, we mentioned there are 34 cards in total in this set. We've showed you 14 of them. Folks, here are the other 20 in this set. 99 overall, Ryan Presley from the Houston Astros. You got Mark Melancon from the 2016 Nationals. Derek Lowe, we talked about him briefly. He's in this set from the 2002 Boston Red Sox. Kyle Hendricks from the 2016 Cubs. He was part of a trade too. 93 overall. He is in. Let's see. Hunter Pence from the 2011 Phillies. There's Doyle Alexander. A lot of people were wondering if Doyle Alexander was going to be in this set. He is in this set. He's an 88 overall. Koji Uehara from the 2011 Rangers is in here. Got Jeff Samardzija from the 14 Oakland A's in here as well. You got Scott Kazmir from the 06 Devil Rays. You got David Justice from the 2000 New York Yankees. John Smoltz from the Braves in 1989. You got Gleyber Torres in here from the 2019 New York Yankees. Nomar is in here as a Cub. You got Corey Kluber from the 2013 Cleveland team. You got Javier Lopez from the 2010 Giants, a big key to their World Series run. Jeff Bagwell from the 91 Houston Astros. You got Orlando Cabrera from the 04 Red Sox, Ubaldo Jimenez from the 2013 Cleveland team, and Cole Hamels from the 2015 Texas Rangers. So pretty interesting stuff here in this set. Now, I did get a notification just now from our guy Paul Sporer. It's saying that Trevor Hoffman's velocity was messed up and will be adjusted down. He will be essentially the same as was shown, but there will be a 1 to 2 point swing on some ratings, and the fastball will be a bit worse while the changeup will be much better. So something to keep in mind when you're looking at the Trevor Hoffman based on what we showed earlier and based on what is going to be in the game. We apologize for that. We'll make sure to double check that again in the future. So something to keep in mind. So Trevor Hoffman gonna be adjusted a little bit once he gets in the game. Just a Just a bit of a heads up for you on that one. So there you go, your trade deadline stars collection. You got Matt Laporta, you got Michael Fulmer, you got Elvis Andrus, you got Kerry Wood, Jason Varitek, Tom Seaver, Cespedes, JD, Mark Teixeira, Rick Sutcliffe, Trevor Hoffman, CC Sabathia as the headliners in this set, folks. What a fun set we have. Holy free holies. And don't forget, we are going to have spotlight packs that will involve this particular set after the stream is out. Any new missions? There are no missions being released today, unfortunately. But we'll also have some special packs this weekend. Spotlight packs are going to be available for 48 hours after the stream is over until July 29th. And then we're going to have some very cool some very cool packs throughout the rest of the weekend. Pretty interesting stuff. All right, folks, before we sign off for the day, let's congratulate our weekly leaderboard champs, as we often do around this time. In the Daily Iron for week 16, Scutcha 11 in the OK Oaks, taking the top spot in the leaderboard with 119 points. Took the top spot by just 1 point this past week. Great job for Scutcha. Daily Bronze last week was won by Jim Bowden 1 and the Strong Badia Tires with 117 points. Daily Silver was won last week by M. The Bow and the Madison Mashers with 112 points. Extra Forest and the Breslow Bintrongs taking the top spot in the Daily Gold leaderboard last week with 98 points. Second week that they have been on top. Daily Diamond, oh boy, it looks like Jeff LTN is starting to do another streak here in the Daily Diamond. 199 points last week. He is on the top of the Daily Diamond leaderboards once again, 2 weeks in a row now. Daily Open last week won by Waddy 3 and the North York No Logo with 156 points. Daily Wildcard won by Sour D 99 and the 9th Planet Sentinels with 176 points. Weekly tournaments taken by Aster 31 and the Minneapolis Millers with 173 points. In the Perfect Draft Dailies, we had Red Eclipse and the Palatine Plutos with 226 points. Whew, Nelly. Nicely done, Red Eclipse. And then in the PD Weekly tournaments, Twins Fan and the Everett Aqua Sox taking home first place with 64 points. So, folks, well, congratulations to our tournament leaderboard champions, and thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode of This Week in Perfect Team. Hopefully you had a great time. I know I certainly did. Cards are live. Cards are live, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Stay safe out there, all that good stuff. I'll see you back here on Friday for the next Perfect Team Friday Showdown. Take care, y'all. DishNet34, Rob Tomlinson, signing out. Have a great day, everybody.